And I... Oh, 1 second, this is facing the wrong way. And if it'll turn around.
I think you know how to live stream, Will.
You would think that I know how to live stream, but yes, we have one viewer watching.
Woo!
Yeah.
You have 80k now.
Yeah, we've got 2 viewers now.
Amazing.
Yeah, there are 2 whole people.
You'll have like 2k by the end of this.
Possibly. Possibly. I don't know, we're shadow banned, so...
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I mean, the Tommy Robinson thing, I think...
Got ya.
Did you get a lot from Tommy Robinson, obviously?
Yeah.
And then after Tommy Robinson, everything's just gone down completely because you got so much then?
I think it helps. I think it draws more people in, but there's only so many people that jump onto your live streams, and when you're shadow banned, they restrict the
live
reach.
stream's about. Because some people will just not be interested in certain things, or the numbers. If the numbers are bigger, then more people will watch.
Okay, so do you want to say where we are and what this is for? If you just give this...
I'm sorry, mate. Right, we are at the University of East Anglia for a Keep Female Spaces Female demonstration. So what happened was around a year ago, or just over a year ago, there was a naked man spotted in the female changing rooms twice, and it's actually more than twice. Actually, we've just found out by different people. The university was told about this, however, refused to do anything because they didn't want to be seen as discriminating. So we're here to say basically that is not on, that they're putting their women and potential children who use this facility in danger.
And so what was their response when you spoke to them?
Initially, we emailed them. We didn't actually have a response. They've put out a statement, but the statement includes that they want to make the space more inclusive, so more available for trans people. The student union have put out a statement since we've been doing these protests, which is basically saying they likened us to the murderers of Brianna Gay. And what else did they say? So it was just basically saying that we're spurring on hate, don't approach us, don't involve yourself with us, and don't listen to us, pretty much.
Why are you so hateful?
I know. I was raised this way, I was groomed.
You were groomed to be hateful? You as well?
Yeah, it was crazy.
So what's drawn you out? This is your first protest, is it?
This is my first protest. I've always known there was something wrong, especially at school, with everything that was going on. You could sort of notice friends getting into friend groups and involving themselves in the wrong sort of people, and then just changing completely. And I think it's school and social media have changed everything, and I think we should sort of go back to how it was before everyone started becoming so okay with everything. You know, I think it's right to challenge, and I think it's right to keep our spaces free. I think we should just
I may ask, how old are you?
I'm 19.
So were you in one of these, what were you seeing in the schools?
Just allowing like changes of names, and we all had to conform to what someone wanted to be called. So there was someone in my school, I won't name them, but they then wanted to be called Wolf, and then we all had to call them Wolf, which is a bit strange, but we had to go along with it, and the teachers went along with it, and it was all just a bit strange. And they all hang out in their own sort of group and were, you know, they recruit people in, it almost seems. Yeah.
And were the teachers sort of encouraging?
Oh yeah, especially Mr. Stanners. He loved to sing a song about how it's okay to be gay and how it's okay to be how you are. But I don't think it's a teacher's right to do that.
So this is one of your teachers over here?
Yes, it is.
And his name is?
Hugh Stanners.
And so what happened with Mr. Stanners then?
We were joking at one of our friends being gay, as children do, just as a joke, and he then whipped out his guitar and started playing a lovely lullaby song about how it's okay to be gay. And it was a bit strange. He'd always invite the children into his classroom and would always be in there when we weren't meant to, actually. Yeah, strange guy.
And I see they've got the flag out.
Just here in his little...
What do you think of that flag?
But you're gonna need
you want a shit flag.
Yeah.
And?
Should I go?
Yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu, a real fan of democracy, my ass.
Benjamin Netanyahu, one of the world's greatest ever prime ministers.
Fuck me. George Washington was a better prime minister. I don't mind if you... Do you mind little step back. Come on, mate.
I was going to let you say your piece.
Can you hear us from that? Look. It's nothing against you. It's just, you know, that's the side. This is the side.
Yeah, but I'm just here to film what's going on.
What kind of GoPro is that? GoPro 3?
It's a Hero 9 Black.
Oh, nice. I've got one of them. They're pretty decent, aren't they?
Yeah, because the 10, it was meant to be better, but there's no difference with it. The 10 was meant to be this great improvement, but they literally changed nothing. So I don't know what that.
What battery life do you get? What do you film at, like 720p, 1080?
I do 2.7K because it's better because if you want to clip out a thumbnail in something, you can just clip out a thumbnail and it's higher resolution. So I usually go 2.7K. But the annoying thing is, it's the amount of gigabytes that it then takes up is huge.
You've got like a 128 SD.
I usually go for Whoa, man.
I won't touch it. No. I won't touch it. I'll just block you from filming.
But I'm chatting to him and he's.
Please stop. No,
We
shouldn't engage with Nazis.
Look, the way it is.
Damn it. Shouldn't engage with Nazis.
Am I a Nazi?
Okay, Hugh,
You don't know who you are.
regardless of who he is, whether he's an independent
Maybe you've been
journalist.
conned.
But
They're Nazis.
What I would say is my colleague here is in good spirits, but you know, he's someone.
They'll use it.
They'll use whatever they can.
Yeah,
Edit-
but
I-
don't talk to a camera with a Nazi
What editing
behind
software
it.
do you use?
Don't talk to a camera with a Nazi
Hit film.
behind it.
Huh?
hit film.
Oh, HitFilm, yeah, okay. As I say, with
They
HitFilm
want
or
to
any editing
engage us.
software,
We
they
don't
can
need
make
to
this look
engage
like
them.
I tend to stick to a cubicle. How about you?
They want to engage us. We don't need to engage them because they're Nazis.
I'm here because I'm a fucking dumbass.
Have you?
He's filming it and he's trying to use it online and everything like that. And it won't
have you?
look in your favour. They're Nazis.
I mean, this
They're
guy's
If you
coming
actually
across
cared
as
about
like
that, you'd be
a guy who
protesting
can have a
painting
conversation.
cubicles, wouldn't you?
the way it has been is.
So you don't mind adults getting dressed in front of children then?
Sorry about that.
That seems a bit inconsistent.
Sorry about that.
If you want to speak, then I'm like.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
They're Nazis.
What? The hit film?
We brought all the Jewish Nazis with us.
Why are we Nazis?
We bought the Jewish Nazis division.
Yeah. Why are we Nazis, Hugh Stannard? He's just disgrace.
A Nazi, we've got a gay Jew who dates
Why
black
Hugh
man.
Stannard has got chucked out of
Such a
teaching
Nazi.
and singing gay songs?
Can't get more Nazi than that. A gay Jew with a black fiance.
You've never heard of the legislation, have you? You've never heard of that legislation, have you? There's not many people who have.
Edward is one of your own. Edward is one of your
Are you getting some people's numbers?
What was your name?
My name?
Yeah.
You don't have me listed down.
No, I haven't got your name. So it's my first time to police these, and I'm just meeting everyone and say hello.
I am who I am.
Face is all over it now.
Yeah.
Don't tell him your name, Jemima.
What do I look like? Am I Bob?
Now,
Am I Horatio?
Whoa, hang on. You've just assumed this person's gender on the basis of their characteristics. That's transphobic.
oh, ignore him.
What? How do you identify as a man? You didn't ask.
So what do I look like?
To be here for.
Am I a Trevor?
Yeah, the day's getting better. I'm
Yeah,
in the morning. It's too heavy to carry. But with time, it gets much
Oh,
better.
you see Jan?
Yeah.
Oh, I hear someone's had an opinion over there. Are you going to arrest him?
Left-wing university
Rob,
oppression.
watch out, I'm going to rescue.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, suits you. Would you just...
Hugh, when's the next gay pride march in Gaza? Any ideas? Know any good gay pubs in Gaza? There aren't any.
So we've got a guy from the UEA who's turned up. That's the guy in the blue shirt. That's University of East Anglia, which is where we are.
Right, we do the field before we get trespassed. We're nearly there. Let's go to the field. That's right, appreciate it. We're going to the field. Earn your money today. That made me work. I like that. I like that. Yeah, and we'll go speak. Thank you.
You're right there, sir. I ask, what's the university's opinion on all of this? He's not talkative today. No, it's not raining at all. It's overcast, but apart from being overcast, it's a bit windy. But it's going from being sort of cooler because of the winds actually a bit warm. It's quite lovely out here. I did find it quite funny when he said, I disagree with your opinion, but I haven't actually stated any opinions. I don't know, what was it? Was it? Well, I mean, I did state an opinion about the GoPro. Maybe that's a bit controversial, saying the GoPro Hero 9 is just as good as the 10. Who knows? Are you busy setting up?
Yeah, what's up, mate?
I was going to interview you, but...
yeah, give me 5 minutes and
I'll give you 5 minutes.
We had 200 Antifa last time, mate. It's down to 3.
I feel that we've missed out. Where are the lefties, man?
We're going to spend 2 months now recalculating, getting numbers together, getting numbers up for the next one. On the 10th of August, well, we got one on the 10th of August, then we'll do one 2 months later. And we're going to have hundreds here, hopefully. And they're going to be embarrassed he's into that, so... Cheers, mate. I'll be
That's okay. You're going to catch a march on it. Right. So I need to grab you for an interview at some point.
Having me here, not that's got cash. Later you can.
I'm not sure your boyfriend would be acceptable.
Oh, matron.
Are you jumping on camera then?
I haven't got much to say, Wilson. I haven't got much to say.
Okay, step away from the music. Please step over here, sir. We need to have a private conversation. Can you step with me, sir? Can you stop? Can you stop being so aggressive? Can you stop being so aggressive, sir?
Down,
stop resisting. Get back.
Calm down.
Get back.
Calm down.
Okay, so what's brought you out today, man? Oh my God!
I just
literally, he's just like.
Before I was like, well, you just started interviewing someone. You just fucking put that music on, mate. You're gonna.
Okay, let's go towards
audio.
these coppers then, because then he literally
This
he angled it towards us.
That's why I tackled the trans activist to the ground before. I chased him all the way across that field and I threw him in a ditch over there, and then the police jumped on him. Fucking brilliant.
Okay. So, what's brought you out here today then?
Well, just some of these people are my mates, so I just come out and support their endeavours.
And what's it that you're worried about with this agenda that's being pushed?
It's far-ranging, mate. Like, I think that most people are getting stuck in the weeds with this issue. It's part of a much larger thing. Like, the larger thing, I personally think, is like a transhumanist thing. There's a 110-page document by the German Bundeswehr and the British Department of Science and Technology. They published it in 2021, I believe. It's called Human Augmentation, the Dawn of a New Paradigm. You can look it up online. It's a PDF, 110 or so pages, and it explains all the steps, including genetic modification, physical modification that they want to take towards a transhumanist future for humanity. I don't really know how I feel about all that at the moment, but I'm very sceptical of it because of the people who are pushing the agenda.
What do you think about them allowing men to be naked in the women's toilets or changing rooms?
Well, I mean, it's just a total and utter breakdown of like social conventions, isn't it? Really, it's kind of indicative of again the wider problem of society. What do we stand for anymore? What do we believe in? What are we working towards? You know, everyone's just mindlessly consuming most of the time, and they want to think about the bigger issues. So you end up with like really ridiculous situations, like having debates about whether men should or shouldn't be in women's changing rooms. It's like we shouldn't fundamentally be at this stage, but we've overridden every check and balance the society had to the point where no one knows what's real anymore. So you end up with situations like this. It's pretty much how I feel about it.
That is. And what do you think about the opposition turnout?
Well, I mean, there was infighting in the ranks. So, like as usual with the left and the right, in fact, as well. This is a problem on both sides. There tends to be a lot of infighting, and so what happened was there's two groups within Norwich that are trans rights activists and these sort of activists that come to these kind of things. One group was told not to protest and they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to give the turnout, which personally I think is a better strategic and tactical move. The other group still said go ahead and bring milkshakes and stuff. The other group was, I believe, the SDP. So it shows you that local affairs, the group that said don't go was the Norwich Trans Rights Group or something, and the group that said do go was SDP, I think. So it shows you that these NGOs and things.
Do you mean SWP?
Sorry, SWP, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking SDP.
Yeah. No, sorry. I was
pretty benign.
I was talking about SDP last night to someone, the SWP, so it's Socialist Workers' Party. It's all these like NGOs and unions basically that have been subverted to be used as like weapons for social change. So they essentially infight, and then you see things like this when none of them turn out, which, like I say, I think that's the right strategic move. If I didn't want to give publicity to, well, I wouldn't go and counter-protest, because you just create more heat, you create more Streisand effect, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So I think that's the right tactical move for them not turning up. Last time they turned up, the whole vibe was different. You had 200 of them over there screaming and shouting at us, coming over throwing balloons of piss at us and things like that.
What?
That's why I chased that geezer down and threw him in a ditch, because it's on my YouTube channel. This guy comes walking up, we see he's shady, and like me and the lads kind of picked up on it, walked over like towards this side, and he opens his bag, starts throwing water balloons full of piss at us, and so we all like started chasing him, and the cop was like, no, don't chase him. I looked around, the cop was really fat, so I was like, you're not going to fucking catch him, mate. So I booked it all the way over there, called the geezer and threw him in the fucking ditch, just like, I just did a little sweep on him. As soon as I got him, leg sweep, and threw him into the ditch. And I wasn't going to touch him. The cop runs up, he's like, get away from him, like jumps on the geezer. I was like, fucking hell, boys. Like, they were rougher with him than I was going to be. But like, so like I say, that was all, it created videos, it created fucking drama, it created, interest. So that, like I say, if they don't come along and create interest for it, then it's a better tactical move. But that's the problem. You see these groups infight. That's why I just say fucking leave them to it, mate. They're left to eat themselves. Like half the time, like the funny thing is, it's like the feminists are hardcore against this. Yeah, it's a bed of their own making in a large regard. Yeah, it's like Jess Phillips with pandering to the Muslims, and then she's getting like shit from them. It's like, it is in some ways a bed of your own making. You can't say it's people's fault, whatever, but people are very, like, they're not very intelligent about the way they go about things. And so the feminists who are interested in all this stuff, they're very exclusionary to men and stuff like that, which puts a lot of men off. So because of all these divisions, if people could just fucking agree on certain subjects, just to get together long enough to actually get something done, be a little bit pragmatic for once in their lives, we would see so much more stuff happen. It's just, it's slowly, step by step, isn't it? People didn't even know about half this stuff until a while ago. And now that social conversation has changed, people are allowed to talk about taboo subjects in the way they weren't 2 years ago. Do you feel like, I feel like things are going to change, because they always do. It's inevitable. In some ways, people are right when they say woke is on its way out, like, because some of the excesses of it are. in other regards, no, because they're not going to give up their army of unique acolytes that they've cultivated over the last however long. These people are some of the strongest advocates for whatever the current thing is. So
zealots.
They are zealots, yeah. So I think you've got a hard time deprogramming those people. Like people who still wear masks from COVID and stuff like that, and are still mentally disordered from it. It broke them in some way. These people have got broken by some of this stuff. So a lot of them have got other interests in it as well. They've got personal interests. They've got stuff on their hard drive, or they've got paraphilias that they like to try and make other people enjoy and things like that. You ain't going to be able to get people to give this stuff up easily. And also, you need a reason for people to give up. This is what I talk about, cohesive vision for society or something people can get behind. Because without that, like, you can't get any way to coalesce people around these ideas. This is how I feel about it. So, yeah, I'm out because my mates are out, basically, in answer to your original question. But I don't like, because I feel like go to protests. I'm not saying protests are pointless; they're good as a networking thing. But like, you're not going to change anything from protests, because you change things by grabbing the levers of power and yanking them violently, don't you? It's like, that's basically how things happen. So, yeah, I don't think protests change stuff, and yeah.
Well, it might help in terms of outreach. It might make people feel a little bit more confident that they can go to this networking event.
Superstar YouTubers with big channels here, promoting the whole thing, then obviously it helps to raise the profile.
I'm not Mayo Tuna. I'm not Mayo Tuna or
you're not
Paul
pass out
Joseph
whilst you're wearing a flat jacket. Did you see that? He passed out on stream because I could think he overheated in his flak jacket. He just literally boom, straight down in the middle of an Israel protest he was at. Or it might have just been the Jewish aura that sent him down. They're just the pure ecstasy of being in that environment.
I haven't seen him pass out.
I clipped it, but yeah.
You've got the receipts.
I've got the receipts. Yeah. I just turned my channel into a meme channel. I just upload things like my Tusi passing out, people ranting.
Are you gonna shout yourself out?
Oh, yeah. Follow me on Twitter, Spurg Media. I'm making moves. I produce bangers daily.
How many you got now?
A couple of hundreds, but I've got most of them over the past couple of weeks.
Nice.
So, like, yeah, I've just started fucking, because I haven't been working much at the moment. I've been particularly well, so I've been fucking just sitting and banging shit out on Twitter, researching stuff, and doing the usual.
There you go. Cheers, man.
Good man. Yeah, but the thing is, like here, you get no football, so without the council protest, it doesn't, you know what I mean, it doesn't have all that much effect, like, whereas, in the city centre, like, we've got a lot of leaflets, they've got a lot of leaflets, so, we can then do outreach, talk to people, and we had this before, there was like a really middle class couple that passed, and I clocked him, I thought he disapproved of it, because, like, he sort of like, you can just like little body language things. He sort of paid attention a little bit as he went past. His wife sort of like almost confused, so she was trying not to pay attention. And then about a couple of minutes later, he came walking back. I think his wife had some sort of job, like working in a school or something like that. She couldn't be seen, like, and like around the.
Couldn't be seen to associate.
Yeah, well, this is still the temperature of the room at some places, isn't it? Like, it's still people still work in these industries where they've got to keep themselves protected, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? It's mad, but that still is the case at the moment. It's until we repeal the Equality Act, you've got to be very careful.
Well, the Equalities Act repeal does need to happen. Because it's the Inequalities Act, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it creates multi-tiers of society, doesn't it? People who are more liable to prosecution for various different things, which is not really a great idea, is it? Especially if you try and like assert things like, class doesn't exist. Like, okay, well, number one, that's bollocks. Number two, like, you're creating like an artificial, like, top-down commie caste system out of making these categories. There was laws most of the same stuff as the Equalities Act anyway. Talking to people recently, and they reckon the hardest part of it is wheeling back all the previous legislation as well that's tied up into it. It's an extremely long political process to actually get that done. So, you know.
Can't you just go implied repeal all the way?
Around a sec, please.
Oh, something's happening.
We're rolling.
I can confirm the music is now seemed to have stopped. Oh wait, they got cameras. I don't know where I'm going.
Right. So here's the thing. Now, as you can see from the three people behind us, Antifa are still going very much strong. So I want to give a very big commendation to them. It's a complete embarrassment to this area. Now I want to start off this with also asking why there was a Carlin in my tripod bag, Rob. It's empty, mate. Oh, good. Right, so I want to start this off by making a few announcements. So I know there's no Antifa, right? And everyone comes to these demos looking for a fight, looking for an argument to start with Antifa. We need to be better than them. We need to be better than the left. We are! We 100% are, because we've got the truth on our side, right? So our next demonstration is going to be on the 10th of August. So we ask that, if you can, please come and support that. Because what we're trying to achieve is not just a shouting match, but we want men who identify as women to stop using the female change rooms at the UEA Sports Park. Now, we had about 10 cancellations this morning. So obviously on the demo days, everything goes shits up. So I want to thank every single one of you for attending today. Thank you. Right. So we're actually, before I get into my speech, I'm going to first give the floor to a lady over there who's Lynn. Do you want to start this off? Yeah. So Lynn is a lady who's quite well known around Norwich, right? She was the female pool player who is one of the top in the country, who walked off after after you were forced to play against a biological man. So do you want to tell everyone who's listening at home and everyone who's here all about that?
So I got to the final in November last year, and that was the 6th occasion that I'd faced a transgender opponent in the previous 2-year period. I had lost every time, but that's not the point, because to me it's not about winning or losing, it was about the unfairness. I've got 2 sons that play pool, adult sons who are much better than me, and that was genetic. They just got better than me as soon as they reached a teenage age. But I had enough by the time it came to November. I told people that I was not going to play anymore in October when our organisations did the U-turn on the policy, because they had promised us in August 2023 that we were going to have a female-only policy from January 2024, and then they backtracked 8 weeks later and changed their mind because they basically received legal letters from the transgender player, and they paid them off. 2 of the organisations paid this person off, and the other one said, no, we're not going to change it, and they're still being taken to court, the English Blackpool Pool Federation, right now, and unfortunately the date for the court is not set until next year, so we're not going to get any move further forward with this until next year. Although we are also fighting a separate court case where we're taking the 2 organisations to court that paid the transgender player off, so it's all a bit complicated behind the scenes. But I just October 2022 was the real wake-up call, and I just beat the world champion, and I walked to the table, and there was a new transgender player that nobody had seen before. They were just wearing purple nail varnish pumps with stripy or spotty socks, one or the other. And there was it did not look like a woman to me at all. I knew immediately it was a man. I knew immediately, and I couldn't play, I couldn't hold my cue, I lost. It was embarrassing actually. I was really awful because I couldn't stop. I was angry, I was upset, I wanted to cry, all these different emotions went through my head at the time. I literally saw one of my sons stand in front of me and thought, if this was my son, I'd shake the shit out of him right there and say, stop being so selfish, you're not going to trample over women's dreams. And I'd also seen the youngsters that are coming and saying they want to hang up their cues and not play anymore, which is how I felt. But I'm 51, so to me, I'm coming towards the end of my career. But to see young girls 18, 20 years old say, it's in our policy basically that you have to use certain words when referring to transgender people. You're not allowed to say it's basically all written there. So I have, like the people that just walked past, and I'm going to admit this now, I've been brainwashed I had been brainwashed into believing that was a woman, because I called Harriet Haynes she, and I still do it now, even though I made a decision 3 months ago to not use pronouns anymore. I still find myself writing she sometimes, and I'm going to delete it. I still find myself saying it. I've said it a couple of times today to a few people, and I have been brainwashed, the same as the younger generation. What's refreshing for me today is to see the students against tyranny, of the younger generation waking up. So some of them are waking up, but nowhere near enough. And actually, my 9-year-old son's being taught this in school. He goes to a local school in NR5. And he came back last week and the week before and told me he got taught about transgender today. And I said, I need to go to school really, because I believe there's only 2 sexes, and that's what I've taught my son, that there are only 2 genders, there are only 2 sexes, men and women. And that cannot be changed. That's immutable. It cannot be changed. No amount of surgery is going to change him into a woman or a man. And the swimming pool, UEA over here, my sister uses the UEA swimming pool twice a week and has seen a transgender woman in the changing room here as little as 6 weeks ago. So it is still happening here. And my son's swimming lessons with his school take place here as well. So if the local school that my son is in, there's pretty much, there must be other schools that use the swimming pool here for school children to come back and forth. And at the forefront of what should be happening is safety, privacy should be respected for women. I mean, I can't imagine if I was in there and I saw a man, I think I would just kick off and tell them to get the hell out, to be honest. And that is what I intend to do if I do see one. But lawfully, like legally, this isn't allowed. There are, in the Equality Act, exclusions where you can lawfully exclude. And this is one of those cases, because safety, you can lawfully exclude to meet an aim of safety. And that is what allowing men into ladies' changing rooms and swimming pool, toilets, and all the rest of it. The toilet conversation's a delicate one. The toilet one is a delicate one. I had the conversation on Facebook because I actually self-excluded from the toilets at pool events because I saw Lucy Smith, who was the one I just told you about, who I could tell immediately was a man. And at the cubicle, there were about 8 cubicles in the hotel at Daventry. And as I came out of one, they were waiting to come in, and I thought, oh Jesus, I'm not going in there anymore. So I used the disabled toilet. And yes, I do have a stick, but I don't ordinarily use a disabled toilet because I don't need to. People that use it need to use it more than I do, so I don't use them. But I have been doing that at pool events. And I was called out on that by a woman on Facebook who asked me why it made me feel uncomfortable that they were in the toilet. And I was like, do you want me to spell it out for you? Like, I do suffer with PTSD, so that might make me more uncomfortable than the average woman, but I'm pretty sure it makes every woman uncomfortable, whatever age, whether it's a young girl. At pool events I go to, there are children there as well. Some of these are held at holiday camps, like the one in Preston. So there are people bring their kids to watch, and these players are allowed in the toilets there and use those toilets there, and it just needs to stop. So the question we need to ask the UEA is why they're not using the Equality Act and the legal route where they can lawfully exclude and put a policy in place so that everybody understands who comes in. Because I didn't know anything about this happening until I was thrust into the limelight, if you like, when I conceded in November. I didn't have a clue that men were going in women's toilets, changing rooms, crisis centres. None of us, us females, consented to any of this. And consent, in law, I think we all know, is one of the most important things, that the woman's right to say no to anything. And that includes men in women's spaces, I'm afraid. So nobody and I would not give anybody the right to take it away, either. So Keir Starmer, if you're listening, I would like the consent put back. Do you know what I mean? I don't want you removing my consent. I want it back. I want my spaces back for all the women across all of the world, to be honest with you. Anyway, could run on for ages, so I better let someone else speak now, I suppose. I didn't write a speech because I literally could talk about this subject for hours, and if I wrote it down, I would be here until next Saturday. So, but thank you for inviting me, James. And like I said, you're doing a great job. If you can get more students involved in the younger generation to wake up like you guys have and have a domino effect, then that would be fantastic. Okay? Right, thanks, guys.
Now, she mentioned the students there. I do want to explain. So, every single time we've done this, we've had about 10 to 15 students come down with us. And unfortunately, this time, a lot of them are away doing things, so we weren't able to get them. But something else, me and Sid have been here talking to students and doing a bit of leafleting. We have been kicked out a few times, but there are 10 students at this university who agree with us. 10 of them. And I don't know why, but they seem to be scared of Antifa. And I mean, looking at them today, I don't really understand what they're scared about. But because they are scared of the intimidation tactics from far-left terrorist groups, because that's what they are terrorists, because they are scared of intimidation from far-left terrorist groups, they are scared to come out and stand with us. So to all those watching at home, next one is going to be on the 10th of August. Now this one we're going to do on Gentleman's Walk. And the reason we're doing it on Gentleman's Walk is because tons of people walk past there every day. And when people walk past there, they stand and they listen. So for the next couple of months, we're going to turn this into an actual movement. And to those who are watching at home, please, please, please come and join us, because we want to end this woke indoctrination of our young people. So I do want to get Paul speaking, because Paul is funny as... I'm not going to use that language. Paul, do you want to come give a speech? Give a round of applause.
So, a few minutes ago, we had some students, and I use that term very loosely, walk past. And I asked them, how many genders are there? And we got the usual abuse, the F word, the C word, the hysterics and the shrieks, and oh, there's as many as you want, there's an infinite number. And it's just indicative of the level of indoctrination that we're seeing in universities, schools, colleges, workplaces, DEI, and all this nonsense. You know, if you dig up a corpse that's 100, 200 years old, you can tell if it's a man or a woman by the bones. You cannot, it is physically impossible to change your gender, change your sex. It is impossible. Your DNA is immutable. If you're XX chromosome, you are a woman. If you're XY, you are a man. You cannot change that. It is absolutely impossible. You can have as much cut and shunt surgery as you like. You can pop as many pills as you want to. It will not work. If you are a man and you want to identify as a woman, that's absolutely fine. Go ahead, be my guest. That's absolutely fine. No problem whatsoever. But what you can't do is then tell a woman what a woman is and invade their space. You cannot change your gender. You cannot change your sex. It is perfectly acceptable and more than welcome to identify as whatever you want to identify as, providing that you don't then try and trump other people's rights. Is it 75 sexual assaults on this campus? Around 40 in the last 4 years. 40 sexual offences in the last 4 years on this campus, and PC Pod over there did nothing about it whatsoever. Yes, that's you, PC Pod. You did nothing about it. Hurty words on Twitter and Facebook, and you're around there with an ARV and a helicopter in 5 seconds flat. But sexual offences, you're not interested. There's no good laughing about it, PC Pod. You weren't interested. And why? Because it doesn't suit your PC narrative DEI agenda, does it? At the end of the day, it's very, very simple. Boys, girls, men, women, and nothing in between. Thank you.
Let's get the atmosphere up a little bit. Come on, guys. I know it's early morning. Well, not really now. Maybe for me, being so young and all. But listen, in a minute I'm going to give the stage to... Are they going?
Hey! Come on, Hugh! You can last a little bit longer, mate.
You couldn't keep it up, could you? Couldn't keep it up.
Are they fleeing? They're retreating.
Oh, Hugh's going home. Bye, Hugh. Maybe Matron wants him back at the care home before 4 today.
Many more than you. There are many more. Many more than you.
Oh, Hugh, don't go. We were having so much fun.
You're heading off, gents?
Not absolutely.
Right.
Not 100%.
This isn't the time and place. We're done now. We're just not going to take Hello again.
Hey, so do you... Official? Well, we've got a free press in this country.
No, sorry. No, I don't mean it like, oh, you can't talk to me unless you have a blah, blah, blah. No, I don't mean it like that. I mean, I don't actually know how press badges are got, so kind of a stupid question.
Well,
you're with the GB people.
No, I'm well.
GBN, I just meant...
Yeah,
I
Resistance GB.
Resistance GB?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we cover any sort of calls that's related to freedom.
Were you here last time?
No.
Oh.
It's my first time turning up here, so yeah.
Are you from Norwich?
No, I'm from London, so
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I've come up here and thought it might be interesting. So
I'd say last time there was a lot more people. You had Posey Parker up here as well. She's horrible. Kelly J, whatever her name is.
Kelly Jane Keane?
Something like
Yeah.
that. Well, hilarious. You probably already know this, but hilarious. This one of her candidates was standing alone, and she got more votes than Posey Parker. Very funny, very funny. Just because, you know, like at least say what you want. I don't like Nigel Farage. He's a banker that should tell you everything, or he was, and he likes Trump. But what was at least he fucking won his Clacton, you know. Like, you can at least stand up and say he won. Not great, and I'm sure Clacton will suffer for it, but you know.
Well, I'm not a fan of Posey Parker personally.
No.
Because she's a feminist, and I don't.
She's not. She's absolutely anti-feminist. She said it herself. My favourite quote of Posey Parker is, "Fascist is just another word for, what was it, hero?" Hilarious. She's happy being a fascist, and that's what we call her. So. Yeah.
Well, I just don't. I'm just not into the sexism, really. People can make jokes about men and people can make jokes about women, but then Posey Parker's basically spent her entire decades or whatnot fighting to get women into men's spaces, and now she doesn't want men into women's spaces.
Not necessarily pro-trans, but she used to not see that as an issue. She makes a lot of money. She's been educated by a lot of American far-right Christian nationalist types, and that's how she sort of ended up in that space. You know, I mean, she's not a very interesting person. Her main thing.
Well, she did that billboards.
It makes no sense. There is an answer to the questions that she asks, but she's not actually willing to hear the answers. The other thing is, she's more of an example of what J.K. Rowling has done, because she's platformed and supported Kelly J. Keane, Jesus Christ. Sorry, Posey Parker, whatever. She's platformed her. So it's more of an example of how someone like J.K. Rowling, who is a neoliberal, but considers herself a liberal, left, whatever, is willing to platform people who are out and out bigots and out, you know, sexists, etc., etc.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna quickly go and pop in and grab a bottle of water.
Yeah, I'll see you in a sec. She's willing to platform those people to make her point about trans people. She's not a good person, both Posey Parker and J.K. Rowling. She's got a lot of money. I mean, you know, as I say, she's a neoliberal.
Well, I mean, they both hate men. If you look at J.K. Rowling, right, she wrote some fantastic characters in terms of Ron and Hermione, right? And Ron had all the street smarts, right? So any social situation, Ron knew how to deal with it.
Sure.
And then Hermione was really book smart, right? So if Ron was useless at anything that he had to read up on, but Hermione was actually really terrible at any social situation.
Yeah.
So they're like the yin and yang on either side of Harry, which is great on dynamic with your main character.
Harry, Dumbledore, Voldemort, Snape.
like most of the main characters, the sympathetic characters, were men. I don't want to say.
But Hermione was actually a good character. It's just that like they both had their own feature. But what she found was when people read the books, like because she identifies with Hermione, right? She found everyone was like, why does everyone like Ron? So when they came around to making the movies, right, they actually took a bunch of Ron's lines and all the places where Ron was meant to do something useful or heroic, and they just had him being annoying, and then Hermione would solve it. So she butchered her own work, which I find so horrible.
Though, did she?
But she was involved very heavily with it.
Christopher Columbus was one of the directors, and he had a lot of say.
Oh, definitely. But the director. Not only do they do the sets, they give the the direction to the actors, but she had a big role in basically cutting down Ron, and then they basically worked on cutting down Ron.
But if you take it from a character arc standpoint, first of all, he's instrumental in solving the chess game bit, right?
Yeah.
Now I can't remember other bits, but he's helpful with other things, isn't he?
It's as you go through the movies, though, you watch him just become absolutely useless.
Snake, doesn't he?
That was Neville.
Was it?
Yeah, Neville kills the snake.
No, not in the films. In the films, they kill the snake or get the sword.
I know it's is it? Look, I know it in the movies. It's definitely Neville.
So he kills the snake, but Ron gets the basilisk thing, right? Remember that? Because that's another snake. That's why I said snake.
Oh,
Neville does kill the snake. You are right.
Nagini.
Oh, you remember? Yeah. You're in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling. But the funny thing about J.K. Rowling is she has a series of characters. The house elves.
Yep.
And the house elves are slaves, aren't they? Right.
Yeah.
Yes, and she has one of them freed. Great. And then she even has Hermione set up like an abolitionist movement, doesn't she? But everyone makes fun of her. They make fun of the abolitionists. They say it's ridiculous, and they even say that the elf that was free, what was his name? Dobby, right? Dobby. Yeah. They say that he is like he's weird and ridiculous because he likes being free, and the rest of them don't, and the rest of them are happy being slaves, even though it's true that they don't. And even the book ends. Doesn't the last book end with him wondering if his slave will make him a sandwich? It was very weird. That's the bit because she introduced it clearly in number 2.
Well, I think it's looking at some of the inherent problems when people are within. No, when they're within a system. Like, obviously, it's fantastical, so you can go. It can't be a direct. Analogy. It can't be a direct analogy, so it can be an indirect analogy, but because it's fantasy you can't match it up to one. But if you look at, you've seen the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
What's the name of the guy? Is he called Red or something like that?
Red and Andy Dufresne.
Yeah, so the when he leaves the prison, he can't actually deal with leaving the prison, right? And obviously that's one of the things with the house elves. So you say, is it conditioning because they've been in this situation where they're serving people, or are they just happy to be slaves? Because it's a horrible thing to think, right? Because I believe in freedom totally. I'm 100% pro freedom, but I think most people just live in a little box. Most people live in a little box, okay, and so long as they can watch their Love Island and the rest of that crap, right, they actually want to be slaves, and that's horrible. That's a horrible thing to think, right? And it terrifies me.
But like, for example,
it keeps me up at night, genuinely.
But we're socialists, as I'm sure you'll have told them or know already. We already know, like, the way that the media, mainstream and even non-mainstream, the government, the system, as it were, is inherently producing a form of slavery. I'm not comparing it to things like chattel slavery, things like that. What time are you being picked up? I don't know yet. I'll take a sec. We'll have to wrap this up in a sec.
Okay.
I'm not comparing it to that kind of level, but it is we see it as a form of slavery. But we also recognise, as in the famous aphorism, which I'm definitely going to say wrongly, but workers of the world unite.
The only thing you have to lose are your chains.
Exactly. So while we see the current capitalist system as one that is based on a form of exploited labour, aka a kind of slavery, not quite like chattel slavery.
But that's labour theory of value, and labour theory of value undermines the concept of personal autonomy. So that is completely anti-freedom, because it says if you live next door to me, right, and you pay me, like, I don't know, quid to do some artwork for you. Let's say I'm really good at drawing. You want to get a sketch because you're writing a
about
book.
Harry Potter 2 minutes ago.
No, but
I'm listening.
Labour theory of value. If you want me to do a sketch, you're doing a book and you need some illustrations, like, oh, can I chuck you a £5, right?
Yeah.
And then you use that and you make loads of money off that book.
Yeah.
You are the bourgeoisie who somehow exploited me, and I think that's ridiculous because I might say, yeah, I'm happy to do it for £5. That's completely taken away my personal autonomy and my chance to make a choice for myself. And also, it said that I'm so dumb that I'm not able to negotiate. So it treats workers, like the so-called proletariat, as just idiots who can be, who can just be sort of corralled about because they're thick. They're too thick to see they're being exploited. It's really horrible to the working class.
If we take your example and say, for example, that what would you say they were sketch artists?
Let's say I'm literally just a guy who can draw really well.
You can draw really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I live next door to you, and it's really convenient.
I'll chuck you a £5, and you're like, okay, well, I'm happy with a £5. I already have a job, and £5 is just a bit of extra money. I can, buy a scratch card and a pint. I don't know, whatever.
Oh, well, probably you won't even get a pint for that these days. But let's say or let's say you pay me a pint, and I'm like, yeah, just get me a pint. Yeah. That's what I want.
Right. Okay.
But then I've been exploited by the Labour theory of value. That's mad.
Well, no.
That gets into the differentiation between living labour and dead labour. Or is it dead labour? At that point, it's got its fundamental value already determined.
But we're saying let's say it's under a capitalist system, right? Then you've got a bunch of other people who do it for a living. So they don't have another job, they do it for a living. It's their passion and something they do for a living. And they're like, listen, no problem you chucking that person a £5 or whatever, but I'm a professional, I've spent years in school, or I've spent a long time learning it, I do really quality work, I can do it for anyone, and it's my passion. And someone else is like, well, I want to create a book for that, right? They can't just say, I'll chuck you a £5. Because I spent a long time learning.
Well, they can, because you can say no. You have the choice to say no. And the only way they can get that out of someone is if someone willingly consents. Because if someone doesn't consent, then that's theft. They've just stolen that artwork, they've enslaved the person, saying, draw me this thing.
But ideologically, what is that based on? Because what I would say is quite based on is probably John Smith, the only reason someone does something is in their own self-interest. But he was also writing at a time where that is the only way that he could see things. He was essentially writing down what was actually happening rather than in any kind of, as it were, imagination in terms of what could be. So when Marx writes about it, or Engels, or whoever it is, probably not Kropotkin, but whatever, he's not writing about it and saying, this is the way things are. He's saying this is the way these things can be. When you talk about autonomy,
when Marx writes about it, he's saying this is exploitation. This person is being robbed. He sees it as theft, and he would see, regardless. And you don't.
More complex
but it doesn't need to be my full-time profession for me to be robbed. And even if let's say it was my full-time profession, let's say I'm in my house and I'm illustrating comic books and I sell comic books, right? Or let's say I literally just do freelance art for anyone, right? And you just want this one tiny commission, do this little sketch, I just want this on my chapter title, on my front page, right? Okay, and I do that, I do it for a beer or a £5, right? I've not been exploited, because to tell me that I've been exploited is to tell me that I'm too dumb to make my own choice about my own life and my own labour, because it's my labour is my property, right? And that's one of the problems with socialism. Is socialism views my labour as collective property, right, of the state, and I don't believe that. I believe you own your labour, and I'm not exploiting you if I hire you, and you're not exploiting me if you hire me, unless you defraud me.
It's a little bit more complicated than that. So under a capitalist system, the other aspect of it is people extrapolate that to unions and say, especially Amazon, for example, say, well, listen, if you're in a union, it means that you can't do things without the union permission, right? And the truth of the matter is, even if you didn't have a union, Amazon would say no anyway. But what the actual union gets to do is not just have one individual asking for these things, right? Because sure, you have autonomy, but you're also just one person. So someone says, I'll chuck you a pint, and you say, well, actually, this took 10 hours, I was pretty tired, I put a lot of effort into this, how about a pint and a meal? they're happy to just they can just say no, fuck you, I'm gonna hire someone else. With a union, for example, you can say that, they can say that, and then you have a number of people who go on strike, and you get your way. Now, whatever, I know people will say, well, you get your way, that sounds coercive or whatever, but the whole point is collective in this regard, under a capitalist system, blah 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 blah.
But only that's
But
only with unions.
You have more power than the person who is chucking you that.
Which is, unions are completely fine under capitalism, so long as they don't have special privileges. If you want to have
Why
a union,
they have special privileges? Well, workers have the power. That's the problem. They'll always have special privileges.
Let's say, right, you really need this artwork for your book is on a deadline, right?
Sure.
Okay, and let's say you're not paying me a $5.
Yeah, but why is it on a deadline?
Because you're writing your book and it's got you've got some.
Why though?
Because
you're really has told you that.
No, or no, maybe you're self-publishing, but you've got a you've got some sort of contract. It's going to need to go out on this date before Christmas or for the holidays or Mother's Day or something like that.
You can negotiate the contract.
Yeah, so you've got your contract with someone else, and then you come to me, right? Let me go through. Let me go through the scenario.
The hypothetical is already kind of flawed because you're basing it on another system that can require the writers' union, for example, saying, well, he's asked me to do a 6-month deadline, and then the writers' union goes, well, what do you think? And you go, well, to be honest with you, last time I wrote it took me about a year and a half, and they said, well, we'll help you fight for a better deadline. That's my point. You can't. The hypothetical you're setting up already has a bunch of presuppositions.
But I'm fine with you having a union.
Well,
so long as your union doesn't get to be enforced via violence against someone else. So, like the example that I'm giving, right?
Unions don't use violence. They use strikes and protests.
Yeah, but if they're given,
they can be political.
Okay, let's say you've got a deadline.
Yeah.
You've got your deadline.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. You say I need this definitely done by this date. I sign a contract with you and I say I will definitely do it by this date. And you're going to pay me proper top whack. You're going to pay me 200 quid to do this, right? And then I'm there. I start working on it, but then at the point that you're not going to be able to get anyone else to do it, I then turn around and I say, okay, do you know what? Because I'm in a union, which is a special club, so I don't have this power as an individual, which I think is wrong. I think if you've got this power, any power should be as an individual. You shouldn't have to join a group for it. You shouldn't have to get government permission. I mean, do you trust the government?
Well, no, but it's more of a systemic issue rather than just replacing it with a different kind of democratic capitalist system.
But
if you believe that, I mean, otherwise you might be going a bit further right.
But sticking with it, right?
Sure.
If I then, after signing this contract, say I'm going to do it for 200 quid, then I turn around and say, actually, mate, I want like 500 quid, take it or leave it. Look, and then you can't say, okay, do you know what? I'm going to move the contract to someone else. I'm going to try finding someone else, and then you would have to pay me, right? Or you just don't get the thing, right? And you wouldn't even get on time.
You're involving contract law, and like I know contract law, and I'm saying like there's other iffy areas because you're still. This is the problem with hypotheticals and also things like epistemology. You either get way too vague with epistemology. Not always, don't get me wrong, I'm just saying you get too vague, you philosophize and your conversation never ends. Or your hypothetical can be so specific that it either would probably never happen in reality or involve so many other parameters and things to consider. Because like you say, there's a contract. Well, what's in that contract? Because I'd have to know before I give you any kind of
literally I think in any contract, if one party doesn't fulfill the contract, then it voids the contract.
Well,
right?
I mean that is the law.
Yeah,
right.
But that's how it should be.
That's not
right?
just the law.
Unless there's a real reasonable excuse.
What judge you
right?
have on what day?
No. It's not that. Law is there to be discovered, right? Law is not something handed down, right? Law is something discovered through a process of rational inquiry.
Case law? The Supreme Court.
That's what case law is meant to be. It's meant to be rational inquiry, and then we find what reason would dictate as right and wrong. That's wonderful.
Handed down through a judgment by a judge, and now we've got the Supreme Court involved. You have judgments handed down via those things. It's just the way it is in this system. Look, I have to go.
Okay, quickly, 1 minute. Give me your pitch against this. What's your pitch against it?
Forget them. They're already pathetic and childish. I mean, you've got a guy over there with an Israeli flag. They've been committing war crimes. They've already lost the argument. were just talking about vaccines. They're talking about vaccines. I don't like Big Pharma, but I can tell you for a fact, vaccines have been around for a long time. They're good, generally speaking, but whatever. They're already going to edit this out of context. They're going to make me look like an idiot. I'm wearing a fucking Akuba, for Christ's sake. Anyway, the clear point I want to make is even if you're not a socialist...
You're on a live stream, so
live stream.
If anyone just
What's
like,
up, chat?
if you want to dispute any of this, like you can literally the whole thing will be there, so that you've got a full document. So if I were to try to clip this, I couldn't because you could expose me.
No, fair enough. I'll give you that. I was going to say we're the SDP. We're revolutionary socialists. So oh my god, sorry. Antifa. You know, I've never ever been. I mean, I'm an anti-fascist, but I'm not in any kind of organization like an organization, Antifa organization. But I've never been called Antifa so much in my life since being around these people. My point is simply this: even if you don't want to be a revolutionary socialist, even if you don't want to get put in a new system, you don't want to read the ridiculous amount of texts like Das Kapital or Lenin or Trotsky, whatever. Fair enough. I can't blame you. The point is this: there are so many food banks in this country, so many people going hungry, poverty is hugely up, the NHS is failing, blah blah blah. Labour ain't going to solve it because they're just another capitalist party.
Well, they're not capitalists at all. They believe in government control.
Well,
they call it state control. State control of the means of production.
You just want laissez-faire.
We are the means of production.
But do you want laissez-faire?
I want laissez-faire and a lot of charity, and I'm going to happily engage in that.
Right. Well,
I'm going to happily engage when all my money isn't being taken by the government. I'm going to take a lot of that money. I'm going to put it towards charity. Other people are going to help people. And I think the number one incentive you have to change your life.
You know, libertarianism was a left-wing invention, right? Just before it was a libertarian is a left-wing thing.
Well, no, it's
right-wing. No,
because it's like the left wing is about state control. So if you
not the best guy in the world, but I'd look him up because he was one of the early libertarians. Kropotkin as well.
Yeah,
the
oxymoron of like left-wing libertarianism. I don't believe it because you believe in state control. It's not libertarian.
Right. Well, no, because libertarian borders on more of the anarchy and left-wing.
No, because like the further left you go, the more state control you have.
No. It's not horseshoe theory. Horseshoe theory doesn't make any sense.
I agree.
It's not even the graph.
It's a straight line.
Straight line.
It's like state control, zero control, which is anarchy. So anarchy's on the far right.
Say like this.
And then on the far left, you've got communism.
They don't trust the government and they don't trust mainstream media, right? We're the same. We have different ideological ideas, but we're the same. Weird conspiracy theorists and left-wing people tend to be two sides of the same coin. They don't blame. They're not actually conspiracy theorists. They don't believe blah 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 9/11 blah 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 whatever. But they both do not like the government, and sometimes left-wing people can stray into the New Age movement, which involves crystals and stupid shit. But I'm saying that when you look at it, it's not a straight line, it's not a horseshoe, it's not a graph. It's a lot more complex than that, and I'd read into it. But my point is, in this country and across the world, we have a lot of millionaires, a lot of billionaires. They can go to space, which is great. They want to colonize Mars. There's no point in colonizing Mars. None of this is good, and we still have people starving on the streets. Socialists have a solution to that.
Well, I mean, it does seem kind of it does seem kind of good, like that the people are out there, like, you know, doing, like, making stuff and people willingly paying the money. What I don't like is that Elon Musk has made a lot of money out of government handouts to his companies because they're. Edison actually stole the So
but
that
Tesla
was
made no money.
Yeah,
he invented because he enjoyed inventing.
Yeah,
he didn't do it for money. He didn't do it for gain. People will do that stuff even if there's no gain or money involved.
Exactly, which is why I'm not a libertarian. I'm a liberal.
No, that's fine.
So I'm you know.
You're a classical liberal. Let me guess. Yes.
Yeah. So I believe that the one sort of reason for the state is to sort of defend people.
Joy, you've read a lot of what's his name? John Stuart Mill. Yeah. No, look. As I said,
I like reading libertarian thinkers though, but I think that they understand, like they're basically pushing for anarchy, and I just don't think that anarchy works in its totality.
Definitely look into the left-wing libertarian stuff, not because I think it will convince you, but because it provides an interesting perspective. Just if you enjoy reading ideology, enjoy reading politics, have a look into it. Nestor Makhno, he didn't write a lot, but I don't even think he wrote anything. He's a cool guy, bit of a weirdo, didn't do great stuff all the time.
Are you talking about setting up free market cooperatives? Because because that to me just isn't left wing, because it's not relying on the power of government. If you want to set up a cooperative, that's perfectly cool, man.
I'm so sorry. It was very interesting. What was your name?
Wilsey.
nice to meet you. I'm sorry, I do have to go.
That's okay, man.
Like I say, they don't really have a solution. They want to vote in people like Reform. I know they said they don't like Reform. They like other organisations.
Well, they want to sort of. Okay, here's the question: do you believe that government is okay? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna head over there.
So do you believe that more government is the solution or less government?
The question, the problem with that question is when you say more government, my inference is that you're talking about the current system, and I disagree with that completely.
No, I'm talking about, do you believe that having some sort of a large government is going to be the solution to problems?
No.
Or do you think government is inherently the problem? Because these people generally, they believe that government is inherently the problem. And
sure,
like,
but they
I think
don't have
I'm fairly aligned with
that.
some of the views of some of the people here. I'm not saying I'm aligned with any single person or any single view.
It doesn't really matter to me.
But
my point is, no, but the inherent aspect of it is that the current government, in any regard,
Can I just ask you a quick question?
I have to go.
He has said that he wanted to go for
you
like
can
10
walk
minutes.
with me, but I'm going to the bus. Oh. Anyway.
They're mocking me now.
He likes to think he's funny, doesn't he, that one? Anyway, it was nice to chat with you. As I say, no, less of this government is better, yes.
Okay, well, we have agreed on something. They've retreated. He was trying to tell me about the Labour theory of value, so we started arguing about Karl Marx and the Communist Manifesto and Das Kapital.
It's well in here, mate. Definitely. But I can't understand where everyone is today, Rosie. We had a massive turnout last week.
He left me. I know. I feel so lonely now. I think they're...
Where do you want to do it? Should we do it by the sign or?
Oh yeah, we can do it in front of the sign.
I'm deflated about that, but oh well, it's what it is, isn't it?
Let me just swap out for the new battery. Have I? Okay, go on. We've got 13%, which is all right.
13%, right. So today I've been in Norwich at the University of East Anglia's Sports Park. There was an incident just over a year ago where a naked man was spotted in the female changing rooms twice. A woman brought this concern to the staff, who then told her it would be discriminatory to question them. So we're here because we want answers from the UE Sports Park, and we want them to stop letting men use the female changing rooms. Now, I've had a message earlier. There was a lady who sees this transgender who goes in that sports park regularly. This is every month. There is a man dressing up as a woman entering the female changing facilities. This isn't just something that happened a year ago once and it hasn't happened again. This is a regular thing that keeps going on. And so we are trying to wake up the students and reverse the indoctrination and get them to stand with us. There are 10 university students in that university who support us and support what we're trying to achieve, but don't want to get involved yet. I think the lack of Antifa might encourage them to next time, so we'll have to see. The next one, by the way, is on the 10th of August, 1 PM, Gentleman's Walk in Norwich, so literally Norwich town. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything. And Willsy, thank you for coming, mate.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right, man.
Are you coming to the pub?
Yeah. I might grab a couple more interviews if I can before everyone runs off. Sorry, I thought it was going to be a bit longer. I wandered off for like 10 minutes and I was like, oh.
I did too. Everyone's just deflated, and so I think the best.
It's quiet. Well, it's a quiet one because a lot of the students are away.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Let me just switch in another battery or two. Guys.
What's he done?
Bear with us a second. I've just got to switch over a battery here.
Told off this morning because I was talking about was it Eurovision, and I said I knew that guy was going to win. He's a day.
Mate, that's not the one. As soon as he walked out, I was discussing. I was like, she's not a woman. She's like a little girl.
That's not like a dress, that's like I'm dressed like a
Just want to say something quickly to everyone. So, the plan now, obviously we're all going to the pub. 10th of August, if you come up to Gentleman's Walk, 1 PM, Norwich, outreach, Civic Centre, get the speaker going, like we did last time. I know it was brilliant. And then we'll come back here in September, because there'll be a lot more students walking past anyway, where we can, you know, speak to them, get them involved. So, everyone up for that?
Shouldn't it be gentle person because you just gendered it?
Sorry, yeah, you are right, mate. Gentle person.
Thank you. Don't want to gender it, do we? You know.
I'm sorry to anyone who was triggered by my statement.
Oh, what was that? What was that with your hand going up?
Didn't I?
What? Why is your hand going up like that? I think we've outed you. I would like to interview you. If that's
You
okay.
can interview the next one, and I'm a bit more prepared. Definitely.
Aww.
No. I will get something ready.
Okay.
I won't let you down.
You'll prepare yourself.
Where's your boyfriend gone?
Are you going to be like Rocky?
Yeah. Where's your boyfriend gone?
He's left me. I told you.
Oh, that hair. It was like Samson and Delilah, wasn't he? Oh, he was.
Well,
all that
I
hair.
thought you were heckling me, and it threw me.
No. There was two. It's like the two people that we queued. He said, "Well, they should be changing in cubicle." I'm like, "No, dear." So take your pride flag to Gaza. You'll need it as a parachute.
down the steps into the form.
Yeah, lots of different reasons really. One was I became very active in politics when I was a politician in Norwich, and called out the whole COVID thing, and was arrested in Norwich for doing that, and charged and taken to court. And I feel very passionate about freedom of speech, our freedom of speech, and I think one of the issues here for me is that I trained as an osteopath. I studied medicine effectively for 4 years, and that there are two genders, male, female.
Well, two sexes.
No, I use the word genders.
With
gender
for males and females.
Male, female.
But gender is a linguistic term. It's for words.
I don't like getting tied up in semantics like that. And for me, a man and a woman, male, female, I just use them interchangeably. I don't make a big distinction, because I think this is one of the issues here. You see, because it's all become intellectualized.
Well, that's
intellectual argument.
Well, that's what they've tried to push, because gender refers to masculine or feminine in regards to words. So a word has a gender. A human doesn't have a gender. A human has a sex. So you have a sex, which is male. I have a sex, which is male. Got some females over there. So no one here has a gender. Like pronouns, only words have gender. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing, because people don't understand the English language.
That's fair enough. I studied linguistics here, so...
You studied linguistics?
Yeah, at UEA.
You should know!
Yeah. Well, for me, I don't really care. I don't really care about all this stuff, because for me, there are just two, male and female. I don't want to get into this whole, how many genders are there, and all this. I don't want to know all that. He and she, they is a plural for people. It's so simple.
And also you, and plural.
You is
singular or plural.
Yeah. So, but I wanted to come here to paint the bigger picture as well, because I think the whole trans issue is part of the global cabal's move to enslave humanity. It sounds ridiculous, but we've seen it over COVID. We saw them enslave the whole world, shut the whole world down. That was a practice run. The whole trans issue for me is about transhumanism, where the blurring between humans and machines. It's there. You just have to look up Harare and see what he has to say about this. Absolutely horrendous things where the World Economic Forum, the United Nations even, they have this agenda where we are going to be chipped. It's there. It's in black and white. They've started practicing it. And I think the trans movement, the transgender movement, is part of that move to confuse us as to what a human being is. Because then we'll be having an argument. You and I, you'll be interviewing me in 10 years' time, and saying, "Well, are you a trans or a transhuman, or are you a human?" And that it's blurring that line. And the reason they're doing it is to control us, because they control us financially. They control our movements, which they practiced with during COVID, and people just complied instantly. In my talk just now, I talked about the whole climate change issue, because we're at UEA here. UEA is the criminal in the whole climate change argument, because this is where ClimateGate happened. This is where the lecturers here falsified all the arguments so that it made it look as if carbon was the enemy, so that the global cabal could then tell us, oh, you can't use your cars, you can't move around, you can't fly in planes. We can fly all around the world, and 70,000 of us can go to Davos and talk about climate change in our personal private jets, but you guys can't. And I think that the whole transhuman agenda is heading in that direction, where it's going to be them controlling every single move we make, and particularly through the central bank digital currencies, just deciding what we can spend money on, what we can't spend money on. I was saying that in terms of discrimination, because these trans guys don't want to be discriminated against. I was discriminated against by, I tried to open a bank account for the World Freedom Alliance in England. I couldn't open a bank account. They said that our political views were not compatible with opening a bank account in England. Just about everyone. Freedom of speech, freedom of public integrity, and we couldn't open a bank account. So there was something very, very wrong. This agenda, especially for this story and stuff, they're just targeting yes, is the answer to that. I used to be a head teacher of a school, and I actually in 2012, do I think that they're being targeted?
They're targeting autistic or homosexual kids.
Yeah, absolutely. But they've done a number on homosexuals anyway. I mean, I'm a gay man, and they did a brilliant number on us back in the 80s, where they said that HIV causes AIDS. HIV does not cause AIDS. Even in the original paper, 36% of the guys that Gallo got his Nobel Prize for, 36% of the guys tested positive for HIV, which means that 64% of people not test positive for HIV, and yet he said that this is caused AIDS. So they then gave everyone a drug, and millions of gay men died around the world. So gay men have been that group. Fauci was responsible for the guy who runs used to run the NIH in America. He then went on to target black lives in America. It's all in Robert Kennedy. Robert Kennedy's book, RFK's book, The Real Anthony Fauci. He describes how Fauci actually then targeted vulnerable groups there too.
I'm sorry, I've got to run. I'll catch you in a second.
Cheers.
I would just love to catch you before you go. Do you need to walk, or can I?
No, it's fine. You can.
So can you just go through a little bit of your story, because I saw we had your speech on there.
Yeah.
But you're a professional
pool player.
Yeah.
How
long have you been doing it?
I've been playing pool for 30 years.
As a
Just over
professional?
30 years. Not as a professional, no. This year was actually the first opportunity I was given to turn professional, and I turned that opportunity down because I conceded in November, and we were meant to start again in January following year, and because they backtracked on the policy, I said I'm not taking my spot, because I would have to concede again, because there are 2 transgender players in the professional section. There are only 32 professional women on the pool section in England. So it was a really ludicrous, lucrative opportunity that I was offered for the first time in my life, and I've turned it down. And that also came with a World Championship spot, which would have been my first time playing at World Championships as well, which I turned down. But that's how strongly I feel about it. I'm not going to compete in an unfair field, and I'm not going to put myself through conceding again, or my opposition, put them through it either, because it's not nice for me, it's not nice for them.
So what happened before when you went up?
What happened before is I just shook their hand and walked off. I shook their hand and I walked over to the referee and I told the referee, I'm really sorry, thank you very much for your time, but I'm not going to play this match, it's not a fair field, so I concede the match. Thank you very much for your time, and I walked off. That is all I did. It very in a dignified way, I felt. I didn't cause a scene, I didn't hold up any signs, I didn't make a protest. And as I left the arena, I didn't actually realise until I watched it back later, someone had filmed it. But the whole room cheered, and I hadn't heard that because I was actually really upset. It brought me to tears conceding the match, and I wanted to just get out of the room as quickly as possible. And it wasn't until I watched it back and I realised that people supported what I did, because I thought I was going to get mobbed. I thought I'm going to go back in, they're going to throw things at me, and I'm going to get mobbed. And I went back in the room after going outside, and it was a complete opposite reaction of what I was expecting. I had men coming up to me, shaking my hand, saying, well done, we've been waiting for something like this to happen. I had 2 women cry on me and say, thank you so much, I can go home and talk about this now. I feel like I've been bottling this up for years because we've been silenced for so long, and I feel like I'm going to be able to openly talk about it. So I started the conversation in our sport, and I think that has had a bit of a domino effect on other sports. But 6 other players have conceded since I have as well, and have said no. So in our sport particularly, it has had a domino effect. And then you had darts as well. Just recently, Dieter Hedman conceded in the darts. So I'm hoping and praying that other sports follow suit and we get all of them on board to do the same thing and say no.
And how does this affect women, especially young women who are just starting their careers?
Well, it's heartbreaking because they're feeling the same way as me. It's not, you think about the fact that you're playing someone and it's unfair. You think about it before the match, you think about it while you're playing the match, and you think about it afterwards. And you get to the stage where I'm at now, where you don't want to go anymore. You don't want to go to the event. You instead of looking forward to the time away with the women where you used to go on these tours, you're now dreading going. You're packing your case thinking, I'm driving all the way to Blackpool for this, or I'm driving all the way to Daventry for an unfair field and to play against men. So hopefully the court cases, maybe in 12 months down the line, we'll manage to make some progress and get it stopped.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And do you think with all of this transgender stuff that they're just targeting vulnerable girls and often homosexuals as well and vulnerable
yes,
boys?
Absolutely. In the definitely in the schools and things like that, because I think that's what was proven, wasn't it? That Tavistock, only that 80% of the children had autism that came out through the other side. So they're definitely targeting. It's grooming to me. It's like a form of grooming. So yeah, that needs to stop. They need to stop doing it in schools and teaching it to young children. And they need to teach them, go back to when I was at school, they taught you to love yourself, and if you were gay or lesbian, to come out and be honest about that. And now they're doing the complete opposite and telling you to hide the fact that you're gay or lesbian. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that all needs to change.
Oh, where can people find you if they want to find out more?
At my brother's pool club, Pinch's Pool Club in Norwich is where I am. Every Wednesday, I'm there during the day. And yeah, that's where they can find me.
That's a nice bag you got. I was panicking. I was thinking, wait a second, there's one of these lefties run off with it.
Right. Okay.
Right. Yes. Thank you. Right, guys. I believe it is time for the pub. So all the best to you. And guys, if you want to keep stuff like this happening, we've got our Patreon, of course. We've got, I think, 13 people are donating £3 a month. So I think we've got. It comes to £37 once they take off like a couple of quid. So yeah, if you can help me out doing this, then that would be appreciated. I'm going to hopefully get a new mic because I know it's been quite windy, and yeah, more events to cover. Maybe I'll be down at a future one where they've got 100 screaming lefties. All the best. Farewell.
It's a shame about